This is the footage CNN International refused to broadcast, citing, quote, purely editorial reasons. Award-winning investigative journalist and former CNN on-air correspondent Amber Lyon, who just didn't buy CNN's claims, decided to blow the whistle on the channel for censoring the coverage of the uprising in Bahrain. In late March of 2011, Amber was sent to the Persian Gulf country to produce a one-hour documentary depicting the importance of social media and technology in the Arab Spring. The documentary, entitled I Revolution: Online Warriors of the Arab Spring, exposed the brutality and aggression of the Saudi-backed Bahraini regime forces against peaceful protesters, killing scores of them and injuring scores others. The documentary also featured Lyon's interviews with some members opposing to the US-backed monarchy and human rights activists, such as Nabil Rajab, who is currently being detained by the Bahrain authorities and kept in isolation without any explanations. Several of those who aided Lyon in her assignment were reported to have been charged with crimes. Lyon herself and her crew had also been detained during their journey by who they were quoted describing as 20 heavily armed men with ski masks who pointed machine guns at the journalists, forcing them to the ground. After her horrific experience, Lyon couldn't but call on all journalists to have the courage and speak up.
In Bahrain, we are demanding for democracy, but although we are very peaceful and we have the right to demand for the democracy, but those countries who say we are defending the democracy, those countries who want to move, from dictator to democracy, they are supporting the dictator, regimes. CNN has been paid by either Bahrain government or Saudi government, so that's why they keep it quiet.
Since mid-February of last year, Bahrain has been the scene of anti-regime demonstrations. After the toppling of Egypt's former dictator Hosni Mubarak, the Bahraini people took to the streets demanding an amendment in articles of their constitution, merely asking for equality among all citizens. In spite of holding red roses to symbolize unity and peace and refusing to raise any flag but that of their country, Bahrain, the Bahraini authorities' response to demonstrations was brutal, leaving no room for dialogue.
Killing people is happening in Bahrain in a very savage and unacceptable way. For example, they are using dangerous gas, which is forbidden even in wars. But how the whole countries who says that she believes in democracy, like USA, like the European countries, and they are silent completely for what is happening in Bahrain.
To add up to the miseries of the Bahraini people, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have deployed troops to help the Bahraini forces suppress the peaceful demonstrations, which at times included up to 70% of the Persian Gulf country's population. So far, scores of people have been killed and many detained for practicing their constitutional right of asking for reform. Altaf Ahmed, Press TV, Beirut.